delighted to be joined today by Ajay Chowdhury. AJ, sir.
Thank you very much.
You good?
Wonderful to be here. It's all great.
So listen, I've got to ask at the beginning, kind of myriad of times, done so much. How would you describe yourself?
Gosh, yes, I have done a lot of stuff. Some would say kind of jack of all trades, master of none. But I'd say the one common thread in all of them is building.
Right.
I love to build stuff. So, I was a tech entrepreneur. So I've been lucky enough to help build 4 businesses. We sold Shazam to Apple. My last company was Web, we sold it to Ticketmaster. I direct plays, so I like to build plays. I write novels, so I like to build books, if you will. So I think what really excites me is helping create something that wasn't there before, and then having people respond to it. And that's been probably the common thread that's run through everything.
I love that. So let me, before I talk about the businesses, which I will come on to, all these different stuff, like, is it just like, I'll give that a go? Or did you always plan to, like, I want to do all the How?
Honestly, sheer luck, most of the time.
I love that.
I really believe people have to keep their antennae open and then decide where they want to go.
Yeah.
So I got into novel writing because my wife happened to see a competition for a first-time crime writer, and she said, "Oh, you're always talking about writing books.
Yeah.
Why don't you enter?" And I entered, and much to my amazement, I won. And then the first book did well, and they said, "We'll have a few more." So that was kind of lucky. I got into theatre director in college. I really started enjoying it there. And then even for my job, Shazam, Chris Barton and Dheeraj Mukherjee, and then they came to see me saying, "Hey, we've got this great idea. Do you want to kind of, join our merry gang, put some money in?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So all of these things tend to be
Okay, so let's talk about Shazam.
Sure.
You say, yes, sure, I'll just go for it. What was it, or what has it been, the common thread for businesses that have been like, this is of interest, probably, as opposed to the many that you've been like, this is right for me?
I think the common thread has come down to 2 things for me. One is it solving a problem that people really care about and really want to solve? So when Shazam came about and Chris and Dheeraj said, "Listen, we've got this technology," anybody you ask has always been through, "I wonder what that song is." So the feeling is, okay, there's a market for that in that people want to do it. When we did Seatwave, there's a real issue of, I really want to go and see Madonna, but I couldn't get a ticket.
Yeah.
So there's a market for secondary tickets. So the common thread in all these businesses, and I've been lucky, as I said, is what is it that's solving a real human problem? I think if you can find a problem that really needs to be solved, that's really acute, and then you can make money solving that problem through technology, you're on target.
So can I kind of, because in the past I've spoken to people who have started businesses, and one of the challenges I always find was that, like, is it a problem that I see, or is it a problem that society has? So sometimes you get approached with a problem which actually doesn't really affect you, but you can't see it. Has it always been stuff which has impacted you personally, or have you been able to turn around and say, well, this is something, but I can see that there's a lot of people out there?
Great question. The ones I've done directly, so I guess, I've done 4 businesses, at least 3 of them impacted me directly. So Shazam did because, I wanted to know what that song was. Because I wanted tickets. Line 1 did because essentially I read, this was in the early days of the internet, I wanted stuff. Then I did a 4th business, was ComKey, which was a retail technology business. That didn't affect me directly, but I could absolutely see how Tesco and London Underground and Victoria's Secret, people we were selling into, wanted this technology in store to be able to influence their people. So it's got to be a real problem, but doesn't have to be specifically for me.
And when you're looking at it, are you looking at it, and something that, again, just really intrigued by this, when you look at a new business and you're having a look at, okay, it's the idea, is that what the interest is, or are you also looking at what's the end game? Because I kind of, again, in fact, I'm just passing out some questions back for myself. It always fascinates me about the fact that when you're in a startup business, people talk about what's the exit strategy. But to me, when you're in that startup, it should be about the enthusiasm of what you're doing.
There has to be value created. So when we're looking at a startup, we ask ourselves, or I ask myself, 3 questions. And these questions sound very facile and simplistic, but I actually think they're quite deep. So the first question we ask is, does it matter?
Right.
Is there a real problem that's being solved? And is there a big enough value pool to go after that it matters? The second question is, does it work? So I could come up with a great idea for a time machine, and does it matter? Yeah, sure, it matters. I'd love to go back in time. Does it work? Well, not so much. So, so you got to figure out that it works. That it works technically, it works operationally, it works financially. But the third is the most important one, which is, can you win? Do I have the team that's going to allow me to win? Do we have the culture that's going to allow me to win? And certainly if you get all 3 together, you will get a successful business, in my view.
What do you define as winning?
Can we beat others in the market? Because whatever idea I come up with, I can guarantee you 100 other people have come up with the same idea.
Yeah.
So in Shazam, it was the technology that allowed us to win.
Right.
Because we had an absolutely unique technology that not a lot of other people had. In Seatwave, it was really execution. Other people were doing similar things.
Yeah.
But we had a great team that could execute on it. So what is that secret sauce that's going to let you win is really important. And so, talking about is that the end game, I think once you create that successful business, there will be an end game. But you've got to tick those boxes first to make sure you can get there.
That's fascinating. Going back, kind of, what do you enjoy doing the most?
As I said, building stuff. I mean, looking back and, my latest book came out, The Detective, to look back and say, thousands of people have now read this thing and like it, and it didn't exist 3 years ago, when I started writing it. When you look at Shazam and say, billions of people have now used this. I mean, it's become a verb. I mean, how much more excited can you get in life than helping create a verb? And so this didn't exist till Avery Wang and Chris Barton had the idea to, let's make this thing happen.
Yes.
That's what really excites me.
So, and Shazam is amazing.
Yeah.
What other companies or product stuff that you look at, you're like, wow, that was an incredible thing. I wish I'd been involved in that.
Well, the obvious one is Apple. I mean, Apple has redefined so many industries, and it's going to be very interesting to see if they redefine the virtual reality metaverse industry again. But they've redefined music, they've redefined computing, they've redefined the mobile phone. And you think about someone like that, and you think, that takes real genius. But I think we're in a really exciting time right now. The presentation that we just gave, I think AI is going to help redefine everything. I was in the tech industry in the mid-90s when the first browser came up, and I was just telling your colleagues here that, I felt the hairs on the back of my neck go up when I saw that, thinking this is going to change everything. I didn't get that feeling again for 30 years when I saw ChatGPT. And I said, this is going to change everything.
Yeah.
I think this could be as big as the printing press. I'm not being hyperbolic here. I genuinely believe it could be. And we're already beginning to see early signs of that.
So why, one last question for you. I echo everything you're saying. So my question is, where is it going wrong, this AI, that too many people are kind of seeing it as a force of bad? Was that in the original messaging? Is that where we are now? And how does it get transposed into sort of...
Look, AI can do a lot of bad things. My latest book, The Detective, is all about how AI does bad things. But we have to figure out a way to control it. I mean, I have real fears about AI. My fears are, next year we've got a whole bunch of elections coming up in the US and India. You are going to see a plethora of fake news, fake images, fake videos. We're not going to be able to believe our own eyes in what we see. And that really worries me. It really worries me, when real luminaries are saying we should slow this stuff down because if it becomes more intelligent than us, we're going to have problems. However, that being said, the benefits that it has are so acute that you can't stop it. And it's going to be up to the governments. There has to be regulation of AI. I completely believe that. There has to be, the tech companies will have to take some responsibility for what they're doing. But ultimately, we as consumers, as creators, have to take our own responsibility of making sure we can be discerning about what we see, about what we create. Are we all going to do it? Of course not. I mean, look at social media. And clearly we're not all doing it. But ultimately, it is a force for good. But we have to be aware of the way it can do negative stuff, for sure. In China, right now, the way it's being used for surveillance and so on is hugely problematic.